Have you ever wondered why your blood sugar level suddenly spikes even though you're watching your diet? Why does this happen? What are you doing wrong? Today we'll reveal the secrets and dangers of high blood sugar and teach you how to quickly bring your sugar back to normal and prevent future spikes. To do that, you need to understand why sugar rises, because the reasons go beyond just carbohydrates. So what else is to blame? Let's talk about it. Why does blood sugar rise even with a diet? Which 3 unexpected foods can lower your sugar? What should you do during a sudden glucose spike? What tea should every diabetic have on the table? And which of Neumyvakin's sugar-lowering tips do all doctors agree on? Stay with us until the end, and you'll also discover many different ways to lower blood sugar, along with an exclusive tip from our expert. You won't find this by Googling. Insulin is a hormone produced by the pancreas that helps cells absorb glucose from the blood. Yes, we know that, experienced diabetics will say. Of course. You also know that all food is broken down into glucose, which enters the bloodstream and is used by cells for energy. But here's what you don't know. Not only carbohydrates, but also proteins and fats influence insulin levels, and therefore blood sugar. Yes, you heard that right. Proteins and fats also play a role in this complex process. Look, when you eat protein-rich foods, they are broken down into amino acids, which the liver can use to produce glucose. This means even if you cut out carbs, your body can still make glucose from other sources. If you didn't know that, give us a like. As for fats, they slow down the absorption of carbohydrates and therefore change the curve of blood sugar after meals. In other words, fats can help prevent sharp spikes in sugar. So cutting out all fats completely, even if you're trying to lose weight on a doctor's recommendation, is unwise. Choose foods with healthy fats. Here are some good sources to include in your diet. First and foremost, fish oil. And you don't have to spend half your pension on expensive red fish at the market. More affordable mackerel and sardines are also rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Nuts contain healthy fats too. Any nuts you like or can afford will work. And there are other sources as well, like chocolate. Wait, isn't chocolate off limits for diabetics? On the other hand, dark chocolate with a high cocoa content contains antioxidants and is actually beneficial for health. Let's clarify with our expert. Should you completely give up chocolate? Today on the Health and Longevity channel, we speak with endocrinologist Denis Lebedev. In the modern understanding of nutrition for patients with diabetes, there are no strict restrictions, including the absolute requirement to eliminate all products with added sugar. It is important not to impose such prohibitions on yourself because over time they tend to be broken, and a person may start consuming sweets uncontrollably. If you love a certain type of chocolate, it's better to consume it regularly, but in small amounts. However, the foundation of your diet should be vegetables. This approach is more effective in the long run than completely giving up chocolate, provided that the medication therapy is properly selected. Do you know what's scarier than sweets? What else besides food can cause a rapid rise in blood sugar? This may be due to psycho-emotional stress, stress associated with surgical intervention or the intake of certain medications, as well as increased physical exertion. However, it is individual, as everyone reacts differently to physical activity and stress. We often underestimate stress, but stress hormones like cortisol and the fight or flight hormone adrenaline can significantly raise blood sugar, even if you're on a strict diet. Just one anxious moment and your sugar spikes. Think about it. Hasn't that happened to you? But how can you not get nervous when something's always going wrong? That's where gentle, plant-based calming remedies come to the rescue. No prescription required and safe for diabetics. Just keep in mind that most of these remedies have a cumulative effect. You'll start feeling a difference no sooner than 10 days in. And if, for some reason, you don't trust pharmacy calming pills, brew relaxing herbal teas at home. First herb that comes to mind? Melissa, of course. One study involving 20 people revealed an interesting fact. Participants drank lemon balm tea for 15 days. 95% reported improvement, and 70% experienced complete relief from anxiety. Soothing teas help reduce the negative impact of stress on the body. It's no coincidence that the renowned Russian scientist and physician, Professor Ivan Pavlovich Neumyvakin, recommended calming urban infusions. And here are his recipes. Brew an herbal mix of chamomile, mint, and lemon balm. Take 1 teaspoon of each dried, crushed herb and flour and pour in half a liter of boiling water. Did you know herbs love boiling water? Many only release their beneficial properties at high temperatures. Let the calming tea steep well and drink it 2 to 3 times a day. And remember not to overdo it with herbs. Every plant has medicinal properties and possible side effects. Don't drink overly concentrated infusions hoping for a stronger effect. Even harmless-looking herbs like chamomile and lemon balm can cause unexpected reactions when consumed too strongly. Neumyvakin emphasized the importance of proper nutrition for lowering blood sugar, and on this, all doctors agree. Foods high in carbohydrates, such as white bread, potatoes, and sugary drinks, cause sharp blood sugar spikes. It's recommended to eliminate sugar and high glycemic index foods, increase consumption of fresh vegetables, greens, and low-sugar fruits. And be sure to include fiber and protein-rich foods in your diet. But blood sugar spikes can be triggered by other aspects of your life too. Let's figure out what they are. First of all, it's age. Did you know that blood sugar levels tend to rise with age, even in people who don't have diabetes? Changes occur in the body and cells begin to age, including the pancreatic cells that produce insulin. Antioxidants help slow down the cellular damage and the aging process. Probably the most well-known antioxidant is vitamin C. Antioxidants are essential in the fight against aging. They're also important for thyroid health and insulin production. But what else affects blood sugar levels? Right now, 3 more causes of sugar spikes. Stress, which we've already talked about, lack of physical activity, and excess weight. Excess body fat decreases your cell's sensitivity to insulin, and a sedentary lifestyle reduces their ability to absorb glucose. After all, why would the body need energy if it's not using it? Hormonal changes also contribute to sugar spikes. Have you heard of the dawn phenomenon? It's the natural rise in blood sugar levels that occurs early in the morning due to a surge in stress hormones and the fight or flight hormone. This hormone surge happens every morning. It's caused by our internal biological clock and is meant to wake us up and get us going. For diabetics, though, this leads to elevated morning blood sugar levels. Yes, maybe these seem like basic truths, but diabetics often forget them, focusing only on eliminating certain foods that spike glucose. The number of meals and the intervals between them are not strictly regulated. We base it on what is comfortable for the patient, what they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and whether they need snacks. If snacks are necessary, it is recommended to opt for vegetables and nuts, although whole grain bread with cheese is also acceptable. The main point is that snacks should not involve the consumption of high-calorie foods. Understand this: you can't normalize blood sugar by avoiding bad foods alone. Managing blood sugar is more complex than simply limiting carbs, and the impact of high blood sugar on your body is more serious than you might think. Why is blood sugar control so critical? Imagine sugar levels like the water in a river. When the river overflows, it destroys everything in its path. The same way, high sugar levels cause serious complications, damaging blood vessels, nerves, and even organs. But don't worry. As always on the Health and Longevity channel, we're here with not just useful advice, but proven recipes for blood sugar control. We'll get to those in a moment. And those who stay to the end will get one more valuable expert tip and a real-life story of how someone beat their sugar spikes the easy way. The information on the Health and Longevity channel includes expert advice backed by science and proven traditional methods. When it comes to lowering blood sugar, many people turn to remedies passed down through generations, and that's okay. These recipes often use herbs, spices, and natural foods. We've handpicked 5 effective options for you. Recipe 1. Brew 1 teaspoon of chicory root in a glass of boiling water and drink it as a coffee substitute. Chicory contains inulin, which supports metabolism. Inulin acts as a prebiotic, feeding the good bacteria in your gut and helping regulate blood sugar. Besides chicory, inulin is also found in burdock root. Here's recipe 2. Buy dried crushed burdock root at a pharmacy. Steep 1 tablespoon in a cup of boiling water for 30 minutes. Drink 1/3 of a cup before meals 3 times a day. Recipe 3 is for tea lovers. Brew green tea with a piece of fresh ginger and drink 2 to 3 times a day. Green tea and ginger both help lower sugar levels. Recipe 4. Brew 1 teaspoon of cinnamon in a glass of boiling water and drink it in the morning on an empty stomach. Cinnamon improves insulin sensitivity. Recipe 5, a bonus. Grate a cucumber, squeeze out the juice, and drink half a glass twice a day. Cucumbers have a low glycemic index and help reduce blood sugar. And now for a bonus tip, an exclusive recommendation from our expert just for health and longevity viewers. There are no foods, drinks, or methods that can quickly lower blood glucose levels. However, if there is an acute decompensation of diabetes and blood sugar rises rapidly and significantly, it is crucial to consume enough fluids, as dehydration in this condition is especially dangerous. And of course, it is important to see a doctor to adjust the diabetes treatment. Now let's take a look at the most useful foods for people with diabetes. Yes, we've talked about them in other videos, and maybe you've already built your own healthy eating system, but I'll share 3 products that are often overlooked and shouldn't be. First surprise, seaweed. It's rarely mentioned for blood sugar control, but it's rich in protein and antioxidants. Some studies suggest that brown seaweed, like kelp, can help prevent glucose spikes. In fact, seaweed is even being considered for next-generation diabetes medications. Interestingly, consuming brown seaweed doesn't affect fasting insulin levels, but can lower glucose by almost 16.5%. The second often forgotten product, pumpkin seeds. They're rich in magnesium and fiber, which help regulate blood sugar. Just toss them in salads, baked goods, or snack on them. They're much cheaper than nuts, too. The third product is chicory. Again, you might think I'm repeating myself. Earlier we talked about chicory as a drink, but the powdered root can also be used in different ways. Add chicory as a seasoning to meat or vegetable dishes for a unique, mildly spicy flavor. Mix it into low-fat yogurt or kefir. You can also add it to drinks or homemade bread. But don't forget, bread is still a carb, even if it's a slow one. To control sugar, you must watch your total carb intake. To get 50 grams of carbs, you'll need to eat 1 kilogram of watermelon or just 1 slice of bread, 111 grams. Moderation is one of the key rules in managing blood sugar without spikes. Are you following the rule of moderation? Be honest, are you taking diabetes seriously? If yes, hit the like button. If not, think about the consequences. There's something called illness habituation syndrome, where people begin to treat their chronic condition, and diabetes is chronic, as something routine, and stop paying enough attention to it. Don't let that happen to you. Diabetes without proper blood sugar control increases the risk of heart attack and stroke by 4 times. I'm not trying to scare you. This is real, proven statistics. Elevated blood sugar also damages the kidney's filtering system, leading to kidney problems. In addition, diabetics who allow frequent sugar spikes often lose sensation in their hands and feet. This condition is called diabetic neuropathy. We're sure you want to enjoy your silver years actively and joyfully. The Health and Longevity Channel team sincerely wishes that for you. And as a thank you for watching this video to the end, our expert will now share a personal story. What is it about? Let's find out. Nutrition science has long moved away from recommending only buckwheat to patients with diabetes. The diet or eating style for people with diabetes is not fundamentally different from that of the general population. It is recommended to consume vegetables regularly. include non-starchy whole fruits, and incorporate various sources of protein into the diet, particularly fish and other seafood at least twice a week, as well as eggs and legumes. For most people with diabetes, the healthy plate principle works well. Half of the plate should be filled with vegetables, a quarter with protein sources, and a quarter with complex carbohydrates. This balanced approach helps maintain stable blood sugar levels. Now let's say you're serious about your health, but your sugar level still occasionally spikes out of control. What should you do if your blood sugar suddenly rises and you don't have any medication on hand? It all depends on the degree of blood glucose elevation. In some cases, this increase may not lead to immediate consequences and only manifest as diabetes years later. In such situations, it is important to consult a doctor in a timely manner for planned treatment adjustments and therapy. If we are talking about a sudden spike in blood glucose levels, it is crucial to see an endocrinologist as soon as possible to determine whether hospitalization is needed. At home, one should maintain proper fluid intake and eliminate factors that contribute to increased blood sugar levels. We've covered that, but how can you recognize when someone near you is experiencing a dangerous spike in blood sugar? And how can you help them before the ambulance arrives? A rapid and significant increase in blood glucose does not always present with symptoms, which is why it's important to monitor glucose levels with a portable glucometer. Before the arrival of emergency medical help, no rushed actions should be taken. If you know that the patient is on insulin therapy or are aware of their current dosage, you may administer that amount of insulin. In all other respects, give the person water to drink and wait for the ambulance. However, what occurs more frequently is a sudden drop in glucose, hypoglycemia, especially in people taking diabetes medications. In such cases, you should give the person an additional dose of fast-acting carbohydrates as quickly as possible, approximately 15 grams. After 15 minutes, measure their glucose level again. If it has risen above 3.9 millimoles per liter, continue to monitor the person. If it hasn't, give another 15 grams of carbohydrates. I urge you to take care of your health. Monitor your blood sugar and take action to lower it. Here's a reminder. Follow a proper diet. Include foods that lower blood sugar in your meals. Avoid long gaps between meals. Manage stress effectively. And of course, our favorite advice, physical activity. For active longevity, physical activity is the first step. Exercise and movement when blood sugar is high help improve insulin sensitivity and allow your cells to absorb glucose more effectively. But here's something important diabetics need to know. High-intensity workouts can temporarily raise your blood sugar due to glucose being released from the liver. That's why it's better to follow the principle, a little every day is better than an exhausting workout once a week. And now, as always, we end the video with a valuable tip from our expert. You should not fall for advertising of supplements claiming to lower blood glucose levels. None of them have proven safety or effectiveness, and their use, especially in combination with prescribed medications, may increase the risk of side effects and reduce the effectiveness of diabetes treatment. That's all for today. Did you like this video? Share it with your friends. Found some useful tips or recipes? Give us a like. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any other helpful videos. Also, tell us in the comments how you manage high blood sugar. Let's support and help each other. Wishing you health and longevity.